I had my hubby up all night, chucking up all night.
Oh, those moments as a mama that you just love.
God.
Oh my gosh. Seriously. So I'm very, very excited that you're here then, because you know, that's not a fun night when you get those moments and you haven't got coffee in your hand, because I am going to be drinking my coffee.
Very jealous.
And I have my water beside me as well, because I got to keep doing hydrating, because that's just how I roll these days. Do you have your water?
I haven't got
Do you not
any
even
water.
have your water? Oh my
I don't
gosh,
have any water.
seriously. So here's the question. Are you a morning person or an evening person?
That's a good one. Well, I am now a morning person.
I love that. I am now. Maybe I wasn't last week or yesterday, but I am now. Love that. Hey, by the way, welcome to the Decision Table. These are just casual conversations. Like, we just join the rest of the world in on our conversation, but like, I get spoiled. I have some amazing friends across the world. Funny thing is, are you in Sydney or are you somewhere else in Australia?
I'm pretending. This is my new Zoom backdrop.
Well, I just thought, wow, I just thought I would, pretend that maybe you got on a plane and you got to go somewhere.
Well, I got on my broomstick and I ended up in Pearl Beach.
Your broomstick. Oh, you've upgraded that broomstick then. Because my broomstick don't work like that.
Economy. I'm going all the way. Economy.
Oh, look, and now we're getting flashing lights. I can't move the table. I may have dropped my light last night. This is the typical Saturday morning where we are just like, hello, it's Saturday morning in Sydney.
Oh,
and
cool.
We're kind of with it, and I don't know. These conversations are so cool, Zarina. We have had different people on here every day. And, like I said, I feel spoiled that I get to have amazing conversations with amazing leaders across the world. And so I was like, we need to make these more public. Some of these conversations that we're having are so important. And the only way we're going to change and disrupt the patterns of what has been kind of acceptable or kind of the norm is to have open forums where we're having conversations like I'm sure we are going to have today.
Sure am.
But here's the thing. What's it like not traveling so much? Because I know you were traveling a little bit as part of your lifestyle.
For what I do, a lot. Yes. New York about a year ago.
I know.
Yeah. Can't believe it.
And that opened up so many opportunities for you, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. That was really good. I mean, it's just another, another feather in my hat,
Yeah, feather in your hat.
That's all in regards to the art part. But, does your people know what I do?
That's okay. We just want to know you as a person first, and then we'll.
That's
but
good.
you can say it if you want. I just who knows where we go with this conversation,
Yeah, so no, it's just about this. That was just another level about just a feather in the hat, right? So that I just thought that was really cool that I was discovered as an emerging artist in New York, but I wasn't discovered in Australia. So I just came back, and that
welcome
was
to my world. Not as an artist, but you get recognized over there, but not here. What is that with Australia?
Well, it's really interesting. There's some music industry as well. The music industry is rife like that. There's a lot of local artists, and this is what I know from I used to go out with a music manager, but musicians have to go to America to make it big, then to be taken serious in Australia. It is I think it's just a population thing. It's that if you can make it big in America where there's more masses, more variety of people, then you can make it big in our island of Australia.
But does that mean that, and I think also that just to add in that pot, because I know for me, it's like I really thought different to most people that I knew and met in Australia. I really did. I was a much bigger thinker and in future thinker than anyone that I'd met kind of around me. I was willing to go against the norm if I thought it was going to add value to humans. And I just felt like I didn't have those conversations so much, well, really at all, at the time when I really began my work. in Australia. And so for me, it was so much easier. So much easier. And I've had so much more sort of flow from America and beyond than I have from Australia. Now that I've been in America and I've met these amazing, it's almost like credibility. I remember sports stars and like you said, in the music, it's like you become famous somewhere else. Not that I'm famous, by the way, just for anyone that thought, oh my gosh, she's famous. I'm not. And but I had much more of a following. I met with people over there, and all of a sudden people go, oh, she might have something quite worthy to say. I might need to listen to her.
Yes. It's very true.
But why do you think that? Like, why do you think Australia is more like that? I think that, also another piece of that is it because we're a little afraid sometimes, our culture, I'm meaning, of doing things a bit different than the Australian way. I don't know. What do you think?
It's that tall poppy syndrome a little bit. Not that I want to go into that, but I mean.
No, you can go in. By the way, there's no judgment at this table. There's nothing that's off go zone. You can talk about anything.
No, I think it's actually the tall poppy syndrome, really, that we have as a part of our culture. But look, at the end of the
day, explain what that is, because I know Americans have always asked me, what do you mean the tall poppy syndrome?
Well, I've got a lot of American friends, and it's very positive. People really in American culture like to support those who have made it, or are making it, or are wanting to, or whatever that is, right? Here, I think you have to have battle scars all over your head and body and bruises before anyone takes you seriously. I don't know. It's like,
no, I'm with you on this. I'm totally with you on this one.
I think that I've been what I do for, I think, 10 years. It's gone like so fast, but I've met incredible leaders, incredible speakers and entrepreneurs. Like, I've had the gift of being able to be upfront and personal and close to them, and understanding them on a different level, to then seeing what they do, right? But I think it's really it's a cultural thing. It just is, gosh help me. America's going through so much change, and a reality change and a reality check. So it's quite interesting where that maybe it's a positivity that they've been living in, and because they are up there in their bubble of positivity, I think that maybe what they're going through now is this time of like, oh God, maybe we aren't as good as we think we are in some ways, and maybe we in some ways in some people, but it's a reality check for them when they've been up there in their bubble. Whereas we, like, sometimes we're in our reality all the time anyway, trying to get to our bubble, of success.
Bring that bubble closer.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like, they're coming down and we're going up. It's kind of like not that bad, not that obvious, but a little bit of a different thinking about it, a little bit like that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, just on that piece.
I'm saying that. Why I'm saying that is because the Americans are going, oh my God, we are an embarrassment. Like, people are looking at us and they're talking like about us in a certain way. Those sort of reflections that they cannot not ignore, right, from the world culture, right, everybody around the world, in the with whatever's going on, but I think in the other hand, we're living in times where, oh my God, thank God I'm in Australia, like, in a way that we're living in safety. We're living in a control. I don't actually pinch myself. I actually do not. To this minute, really amazes me that how we've come through, what we've done with our government or people, how we've just sort of worked it together, like we've just come together. It's been
Have we come together, or are we just good sheep?
No, we're good sheep.
And that's the thing, right? Like, you talked about the Americans. I love America. I love the thinking over there. I love so much about America, but I also agree that it has all, because there's such a population, a lot of people believing it, going for it. It becomes almost this noise above the noise.
Yes.
And they've been able to be the noise above the noise.
Yes.
But they're also dealing now with this America that maybe many Americans aren't loving so much. Maybe Americans aren't. Yeah, I can see that. It's really cool. Like, I didn't know Zoom could do that. That's hilarious. But there's so many Americans that are going, hey, we're having divided thinking here. And whereas in a lot of times that Americans, oh my goodness, my light, I can't bump the table. There we go. That, in a lot of times the Americans have gone, we're really joined together. And I think what you're saying there is in Australia, I do, by the way, think in Australia we've been, and I think this comes to the tall poppy syndrome, that there is this mentality that, well, the system says this, the people say this, or this is the way to do it, so you need to do it. And we kind of don't question things. We really don't. There's a few that might, and you would get stomped on if you're not the major people that do it here. Now, that's culturally. Some of the lenses in which we, as humans that are born in that country or live in that country or brought up in the country, that's what we're living amongst. And I don't know, going back to the tall poppy syndrome, if there's one thing I could do in Australia, it's eliminate that.
But say, for example, right, you've got a crisis. You need to have that leader that just... You do, okay,
totally.
That leader, I've got to follow... There might be dodgy things or not, but just have to follow the status quo. And I think this is what, in a way, that in essence, we've all been the sheep, good sheep.
Yeah.
And and we've done a good job to be good little sheep.
Good little
in
sheep.
the instance of a pandemic.
Do you know what makes me laugh? Because
I don't understand this whole thing.
Here we are in Australia and we're talking about sheep. And usually that's the Kiwi joke, So I think that's hilarious. Just that we're talking about Australians as sheep. Go the Kiwis versus the Aussies just then for a moment.
Okay. You know what? I'm married to a Kiwi, right? Don't worry.
Yes, I know.
Love a Kiwi.
It's just funny. It was one of those funny moments that I go, the irony of that right now.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot.
It is, right? Anyway, what will you say?
I think that that leadership really, I think that I really, really started to see people when they were stepping it up, in especially our leader, our Prime Minister, or some of these people kind of really really on the brink of crying. And that really got to me, like nearly went, oh my gosh, I'm watching them on national television and just let it out, babe, let it out, or, just, oh my God.
So do you think they're maybe sharing more of a vulnerability than before?
Sharing
more vulnerability than before.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, gosh help me. The New Zealand Prime Minister was brilliant,
Wasn't she? Amazing.
The way she was beautiful, the way she handled it like an angel, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see a bloke, our Prime Minister, in that high crisis, break down, have a tear, because he was really close.
Yes.
God, he was close. And I seriously, I was watching him going, come on.
And wouldn't you be close? I'd be close. I'd be like, dude, I don't want to be doing the Prime Minister role. That just looked too hard right now.
Oh, and what about Gladys Berejiklian? Oh my Lord! I mean, gee whiz, she was just. It was like a train smash about to happen. Boom, 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 and she was like. She had crises of herself, right, going on, but she had the major crises of our state.
Yes.
And she had to deal with crises of a leader north and south of her, going, lady, we're not going to deal with you. It was full on. She was getting battered all over the shop. And I was feeling her. And when she was on television, when she was having to face up, you could just see her face. Just like, it was ripped. She was stripped apart. How am I going to muster tomorrow? You could just feel it. It was that dramatic. I felt her so much. She was literally going to cry.
I know. So here's the thing. Part of what I believe is the need for a new approach to leadership is this vulnerability thing. Well, see, my light's getting excited. This vulnerability thing.
I'm going to use another word for leadership. And I
Good.
really.
What is it? What is it?
It's totally that it for me, and what I see what's going on, it's look, vulnerability it's not for everyone, because
good. So what is it for you?
It's for everyone. I think it's empathy.
Yeah. But like the word for you is
Omnipresent for me. My word for 2021 is
omnipresent.
omnipresent. I can't pronounce it, but I'll say it.
It sounds very zen for a moment later. Okay, so how do we take that into a new approach of leadership? How do we bring that in?
Oh, definitely through what I think is empathy and so empathy, and then being agile. So agile in 2021, I really believe that you have to be flexible, understanding, and I think my word for omnipresence for me, being in 2021, I really want to be able to give a lot more back to what I do know, come out of my shell a bit more, and be able to be standing in my zone a bit more about. Well, I do it anyway, but a bit more in a global way that I'm doing.
Tell me what that looks like.
Well, last year and throughout 2021, it was crazy. I went from going, oh, sugar, I have no business, to, oh, sugar, I have too much business in the last 5 months of business, right? Wow. So I had too much business, and that was nice. But
good problem to have, right?
Yeah, good problem to have. I don't, was it that saying, don't wish a gift horse in the mouth? What's that saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I don't know. I'm dyslexic. I get all those things wrong.
Charades. And so I think that, well, last year a lot of opportunities came to me, global opportunities. One was to be a global ambassador for a video brand, and then I'm going to take that big this year, and then another ambassador for female leadership for a female global ambassador for a business in England. So that I thought that was really nice that they asked me.
I love that, because now you're starting to use what is your genius zone, and you do amazing work, and then be able to use what you've built as a platform for you to now bring a bigger platform and give voice to, right? And I think that's so important, and it's a way in which we can really turn up the impact that we bring.
Yeah, and speaking about impact, I got a story. Like, I was just speaking to a really good friend of mine. Like, she's like a really, like, she runs joints like really well, like businesses. And during COVID, she had to sack 300 people over Zoom, and that was heavy. And she was explaining to me and just sharing with me yesterday, that it was really, really hard to do that over Zoom. That was just so, it's almost like, oh gosh, just so impersonal, but it has to be personal. And anyway, she did really well, but but obviously it's really hard, but it was one of the hardest days of her life. And the people were, some said, oh, well, it's okay for you, whatever, come back, feedback and things like that. But he said to everybody, I want you to know that what you contributed to this company, that you've contributed for a reason, and it's been, to build the company, you've added your value to it, and tomorrow that value will be recognized tomorrow and the day after and the day after. So your contribution, is not going forgotten. So it's just about, I think, change has to happen. We're not in jobs for 10 years anymore. We're not in any jobs. My mum and dad were in jobs for 10 years all the time. Wow. My mum said to me she wanted me to be a nurse when I was like, I don't know, 16 and things like that. And I was like, oh my God, nurse, blood, guts and gore.
I can't imagine you as a nurse.
I can't either. I always wanted to be a detective, but that never happened,
Wow, Detective Zarina.
Yeah.
Talking about detectives, now that we're getting distracted, I wanted to be, I always say that if I was to come back, I'd be one of those FBI human behavior analysis people that go in, and I find that fascinating.
Yeah, so do I. I like to know how things work. I like to know how things operate. Like, say, for example, even a car factory. I would be so fascinated to see how it all assembles and everything, all the intricacies of example. But anyway, but yeah, but just getting back to the point about
Oh yeah,
that
of course. Yes.
leadership, the empathy and the agility.
Good. I'm so glad you're bringing us back to focus.
Yeah, I'm pretty much. That's okay. Leave it to me.
Fantastic. Go for it.
Now,
where were we?
I'm totally on. Don't do cheers to me. Oh my God, you're teasing me. Nasty.
No.
Nasty. Yeah, but like
So back to leadership.
This is contribution, like we've got to understand that we are not in jobs. We you know what it's actually opened up is that creativity. You're thinking outside the box. This whole COVID business, you have to start as a human being. How resilient, how resourceful can I be? How resourceful can I make my day today? And you know what?
So good.
I'm telling you, resourceful was the word for last year, for hell. On the present for me was this year. But gee whiz, resourceful. I had to muster up blood, guts, and glory to get to my mindset, to get, wow, what am I going to do to survive? Or what am I going to do to do something?
But see, that's huge. I think what was huge about that for you, and I saw across a lot of different leaders, was this. You were doing so well. And I know what that's like. You were getting this amazing momentum. You were getting known as across the globe in spaces that you've been wanting to get into, maybe putting your your little toe in, and it sort of went, whoa, now I'm in there and I'm now this budding new artist and things like that, right? Like, and then all of a sudden it's like, you're in Sydney, the borders are closed, and your whole world changes.
Yeah. Well, I rebranded, relaunched my main gig as branding expert, personal branding. Yeah. What I do, I mean, I never went dormant. I just went dormant to go into my mind.
But you had to be resourceful, like you said, right? And change and go, what does this new look like?
Yeah. The new me, the new fresh me. I felt like a bloody butterfly. I'm like, I was like so good. I was like,
so were you the monarch or were you like the moth?
The moth. Shit. Yeah,
but you weren't alone on this. There were so many that had to deal with that, myself included. With one of our companies, it was flying. It was actually because we nailed everything and we went in there and we worked really hard. And it was hard work, by the way. It was all restructure because we needed to have the infrastructure to cope with what we were doing now. So there was it was a hard year, but an amazing successful. And in my company, it was a year where I had to go, oh my goodness, how I'm doing live events, speaking and, building these collaborative relationships, but being on the ground, building them with them. Right. And all of a sudden we were about to launch all these different things and we couldn't do any of them.
Nothing. I photographed 200 speakers in March in the National Professional Speakers Association convention. Like they all get together, right, once a year. 200 in March. Oh my gosh. It was 4 days together with 200 speakers, and boom, boom, boom. They were getting up on stage and making jokes on stage. So, the MC would be like, but nobody's really actually understanding what was really going on. So there was this kind of banter, but there was no reality check, right? And then as the fourth day came, people were like, oh my gosh, one lady was crying, all my work is cancelled. So it was starting to get dollars worth of cancellation of live events, right? So that was highly dramatic in a very short amount of time. In an intense part of one type of avatar, speakers that I deal with, boom, gone, like that. But then they all came back as the hybrid virtual. And that's why I've pivoted my business towards them as well, to suit them and help them.
Which of course makes sense and smart on your behalf. Here's the thing. One of the things you said for this need for a new approach is empathy. How do we, when we know that so many are struggling or have had challenges or are working through things, because by the way, it'll just be a different level, because often when you go to different levels of, as a company, you go to different levels. There are different things, challenges that come across your pathway. It doesn't go away, challenges, right? How do you think as a leadership or as a leader that we can have more empathy or change the way we bring empathy as a priority into our leadership?
I think taking a real interest in the person's life. There's a real, like this. I'll just go back to this story. This is part of the pivot of this lady that was remarkable, and that I just look. I used to work for Louis Vuitton, Moe Hennessy, LVMH, perfumes, cosmetics, and all that business, right? And
yeah, heard of them once or twice. Yeah.
Yeah. The handbag. Yeah, right. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, so and then I found at the time when I was working there, disconnect, right? Because of corporate, right? And when you hear about certain stories like what I heard yesterday, and this is the story that was that this is a global company.
Yes.
And in New Zealand, well, for some reason, there was all these stats that they did. They would have done they must have done some sort of survey. It wasn't intentional. It's just like probably to find out, how are you going? How can we help you? Are you okay? And are you, just survey. Are you all right? I mean, gosh, it's as simple as that, right? Then they got this feedback back. But what was the biggest revelation in the whole of this whole thing was the women that came back were, help me. Help me. How? A lot of women, the domestic violence in New Zealand was massive. Was so sad that she was like, oh my gosh. What happened was that she had to open up her offices. They had to open up the offices and have a level for women who could just go and escape into that office.
A safe space.
Safe space. It was so shocking yesterday when I heard that, So it's like, like when it comes back to empathy and agility and, and oh my God, that was like really heart-wrenching, that she told me some stats, massive stats about what they have to do as a corporate to help those women. I was like, God, this is what's happening out there. And it's getting brushed under the mat by probably corporates that don't really want to know or don't even understand it or don't get it.
So how do we take that and not brush it under the carpet?
Do a survey. Help these people.
Do a survey. Come up with solutions. One of the reasons I'm doing these conversations is for this. I want an open platform where we can start having these conversations because I believe it starts with awareness. But then it has to come from awareness to then go into ownership. And it's like, well, how are we going to own that? Or what are we going to do to bring solutions? How are you, now that you've got that information, what are you going to do with that?
Well, it's really interesting because I painted my first ever nude.
I did actually see that. It came through my feed.
Oh my God, I bet
very quickly, and I was like, oh, I might go back and have a look at that. But then I go, is that kind of creepy that I want to go and look at?
No, it wasn't.
Okay,
it was
cool.
A story, Kiri. It was a story in the post.
Okay,
read
cool.
The story, girl.
Okay, I'll read the story, but I'm visual, so I went straight to the picture.
A lot of likes on that one. But the thing is that the story was because I did it. And there's a story about a lady I worked with, and she came into my studio, and we were magnificent. Like, she was a power woman. She was a powerhouse. She was so much energy and vibrance and power. And I didn't know her from a bar of soap. It was on the end of the phone, and she was ringing me from Melbourne. And she was she used to be a manager of some stars and and things like that. Anyway, she's into brand, and she wanted to get onto boards and be named, like she wanted to make her mark on boards as a woman in boards, right? Anyway, rang me up. She said to me, Serena, you're the only person in the whole of Australia. I've done my research. I'm hunting you down. You're the only one in Australia who can photograph me and will. And I went, okay, right, okay.
No pressure.
No pressure. I went, shit. And she was really powerful. So I'm like, really scared. So anyway, so she got herself on a plane. She arrived at the studio. Arrived with the most beautiful clothes and just stuff, right? She was a powerhouse, like full on. I'll never forget it. And we're dancing around the studio, in the Natural Light studio, boom, boom, boom. It was like magic. It was complete magic. It was just weird, but it was a magical moment. I'm just like, sun was coming in, because I only work with natural light, right?
Mm.
And anyway, no electronics near me. And she goes, oh shit, 10%. And then she goes to me, I've got to stop, Zarina, I've got to tell you something. I said, what is it? I need to tell you that this is the last photo shoot I'll ever do. No. People come back because they change. It's all good. You come back, okay? Well, you're going to do a good job and you're going to come back. Oh, no. She stopped me. I said 3 months later, the most magnificent photos of this woman, Michelle, were seen at her funeral.
Wow.
She said to me in the studio, she had a brain tumor. And I just went, oh God. And I dropped my camera, literally. I literally did. I dropped my marbles. I just couldn't believe it. Michelle, you're glowing like a light bulb. How could you tell me this?
Yeah.
You know? And this is it. What the lesson is to me for this year, and with that painting, and it's connected, is life's too short. Life's too short to not to try. Life's too short to not to give and help. You know, and life's too short not to, you know, to take for granted our journey.
Yeah. So how do we do that better with leadership?
Really be in tune with people, you know, I think, you know, really.
Yeah. So I always talk about
hard, man. It's hard. It's I don't know. It's hard because leadership is such a big word, okay? And leadership in corporates is such a big word for them to navigate the Titanics or whatever they're, you know, they're big ships, right? You know, I mean, it's hard. Micro, you got to help people.
But if it's too hard, then no one's going to do anything, right?
No. So big thing that happened for me last year was that I brought all the people that came to me to get work done, branding, photography, videos, all that with me. I made a conscious decision to say, and I just did it. I said, I'm inviting you out, and we're going to come out to just be, you know, connect. And every single one of them physically came out, and there was a window there around late November, and we all came out just to celebrate and just each other. They didn't know each other, but I was the conduit for connection, and I felt the most empowered in my life of 10 years of business. I've never felt more empowered, more more in tune with my people ever in my life than last year, November, ever, because they all came together. I stood up and spoke about why I'm doing this and my why, and that you guys are making a difference to my life. I'm making a difference to them, but I'm bringing them together as a community because I am the community. I am their community. I'm the leader for them. And they look at me to help them. And I never took ownership of that in the past. I never did, because I just was dealing with these egomaniacs that I was looking at them going, well, they've got all the answers, but I had to look within myself. I've got answers to help people. And you know what? I've attracted a new, beautiful tribe of people who have got more, like, really a softness about them and a love. And that's where I am. And the softness.
But I see that out of you, Zarina, this softness, this love, this new Zarina that I didn't see before. In fact, one of the reasons I'm loving these conversations is I get to have and see someone in a new light. You ask me, does everyone know what you do? I'll ask that at the end, or like I'll say, how do they join you? But I want people to connect with another human and realize that as humans, what are we doing? What can we do as humans, helping humans get further along on this journey that I call life, right? How do we do that? And I think it's like what you're saying. You're humanizing.
Yeah.
That you are now a leader that is a human leader that is going, hey, I've got this beautiful tribe that are a part of my world. How do I best now own this? And what is that kind of change that I'm going to do with that and help bring that in a bigger way? Because you're changing me. I'm getting to help change your world. How can we together help to be part of the difference that is needed? And you know that is needed, like you brought up in New Zealand, the domestic violence there. You know, like there's so much need. And the moment when Michelle said to you, hey, by the way, I'm not coming back here. and there is such a need, right? And one of the things that I'm going on and on and on about, and my theme for this year is to see humanity. And what I mean by that is to see humanity at the decision table. And this is part of it, that we are human. We are human. And we have to get back to that and going, how are we adding value? And how can we help to take others along on that journey with us?
So true. Amen.
What's going on in you right now when I talk about that?
Peace.
Yeah.
Peace. I think I've come a long way to just be comfortable in my own skin, to be
Which
me.
I love, by the way. It's a much better skin. Get rid of that old one. This one's awesome.
I thank you, because I was too shy. I really am.
No, you're not. You weren't. No.
Yeah, but I mean,
But why are you too shy? Because this gets me, right? That more cannot be standing strong like this and coming into the whatever that is. It's like you said, I'm turning into that butterfly, you know. And by the way, I think it's going from moth to monarch. But you know, it's there's a reason to this, and it goes back to even the conversation we were talking about the tall poppy syndrome, right? Like, it's not the norm for us to necessarily be the different person that we're meant to be. And that's what I love. It goes back to conversations of humanity. I always want us to be humans at the table, but bring our distinctions to the table. I don't talk about diversity. I talk about distinctions, that you're actually bringing your distinctions to the table. Why?
Yes.
Because I like the Serena that's not like everyone else. I like the Serena that goes, hey, by the way, I want to bring my tribe on this journey. I'm not really sure how that works, but let's work that out together. Let's figure out how we can bring change together.
Yes, my love. Yes.
I know, but the thing is, there's more Serenas out there, and I reckon, so thank you for sharing that, because I think, you know, our listeners and those that listen to the replays and everything, you know, there's more Serenas out there. There are that want to stand in their truth, that want to have, you know, be this new approach to leadership, that we can stand as leaders and be not just okay, but love and live our lives the best we can every single day. Well, and I don't know that leadership has always been like that.
No, because it's, you know, it's a bit hard to voice your opinion and be yourself in an environment where it's quite it's competitive.
Yeah. You know, so why do you think that? Why do you think that's hard? What is it that stops us from doing more of that, or
judgment.
More people being able to do it?
That judgment stops people from being. I love judgment. Look, at the end of the day, judgment. This is why I haven't stepped into my zone as much as I probably could, or own it, because of judgment. But
right.
What do? It takes time, you know.
I don't know. You tell me, because here's the thing. Like, and that's what I always say here at the table. I said, you can say anything and everything, because there is no judgment. Because even if I disagree with something you say, even if I don't like what you're doing, I love you as a human, because I see you as a human first. And there might be things, and I think that we need to now have those conversations that are uncomfortable, right? That maybe we don't all agree with each other at the table, and it's actually okay.
Oh no, I love that. I love that.
It's actually okay. Yeah, I know, but that's where the judgment comes in, because if you are at a table where everyone looks the same, sounds the same, feels the same, then, and you think differently and you speak up, you know that you are not necessarily going to be the one that's accepted, loved at that table, wanted to be at that table, right?
Exactly. Spot on.
So we need to be able to have these conversations.
You know what? You've got to be at the table, because without that difference, there is no table.
I know. So how do we make it in a way that more people can be at the table? Does that mean we need to make different tables? Does that mean we need to get these tables out at the beach and get amazing people out of their places, their environments that are their environments, into a safe environment? Who knows? What is it? What can we do?
Just be out and about and be connected with as many people like-minded to be able to share your voice and your opinion, I think.
Yeah.
I
Your voice and opinion. So
your voice, your thoughts.
Yeah.
Your
So
essence.
what's Serena's voice now?
Coffee. Phone's about to die. Coffee. Sorry.
That was so deep.
No, well, sorry. What was my
You crack me up.
No,
okay.
Hopefully I do.
Obviously, you're running out of juice there. Before you run out of juice, I do want to ask you a question, because I ask this of everyone that comes on here, and I say, you know, from our conversation today, what are you taking away? What have you maybe learned, or going, oh, that's what I'm going to take in. I'm going to do it a little different, or I'm going to think on that. What are you going to take from this?
That I didn't know that I was having, or having a being me.
Yeah.
Your feedback. So I'm grateful for your feedback. Your words of me on me are like it, that is special. Yeah. And it makes me want to do no, it says to me that I'm on the right track anyway, you know.
I love that.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. And here's the thing, I just think that sometimes it's about us, you know, just doing more of what we need to do and amplify it. Because of course, the more we can do it, the more lives can be a part of that and come on that journey with you. Yeah. Okay, so before your phone runs out, how do people get hold of you if they want to know more about what you do and become a part of that tribe that you're talking about?
Well, I've got a new website which got launched this week with the nude. Two things. The Zarina Photography, ZAHRANA, ZarinaPhotography.com, that new website. And then the other website is ZarinaGallery.com. So there's the art and there's Zarina Photography. I've never owned the art because I thought it's a separate thing. It's a distraction. I thought people would go, oh, aren't you doing what you're doing up here? Like photography and videography, that sort of stuff, right? I went, well, no, I am, but I'm doing it because I need that to feed. I need the art to feed the soul to get to this, to make me more real. So the big shift has been that the art has made me connect to my soul more, to give me more focus and more color in my life. That is to do with humans, but to do with my canvas and my art, my creativity that feeds my soul to do better at what I do every day. Then my voice is coming out and how I am today that you see me. It's been a massive shift, like massive. It came to me like a freaking tornado, like a tsunami, boom. And it came to me like that. And it changed me. Like, I don't look at just the people that I'm working with. That's a job, it's a gig, it's innate. I can do it, my eyes closed. I'm a master at it, but I'm not a master at art. And it came to me through my soul, and I didn't know. I've never painted in my life, ever. I've never done a nude. I've never done the water stuff. I've never done all that. So ZarinaGallery.com, I'm now starting to own what I do, and that is being a multifaceted human being. And I never thought I could. I never thought I should. Because it was the status quo. You do and you're one. You do that avatar. You're the one photographer. You're not. Or you do that. You're in that track. Oh God! And then I started getting confused about my identity. I was like, all right, I'm getting really fucked off with all this. I don't know how can I hide myself, like being like, you know, people that say gay, and they have to come out. Oh, I don't know why.
I'm coming out.
I'm coming out. I'm coming out now. And I literally, I did that 2 days ago. So with that nude in the post, I literally came out. So thank you. That's what I came out.
That's beautiful. I love that. And what an amazing, thank you so much for coming on. I know your phone's running out, and I'll finish the broadcast myself, and you can disappear in a second. But I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for being willing to be open, to just share where you're at and what's happening, and then for us to be able to see through your lens of how you're seeing, how we can bring a new approach to leadership. I think it's easy for us to think we know what it is. But I love the sort of the different perspective that you bring into our focus to be able to, look at it and go, hopefully make different decisions now that we are more aware. So thank you for being a part of that.
My pleasure, my darling. My pleasure. Looking forward to the
And
replay.
that beach looks really awesome. So I hope you got some swimmers on.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting.
Dude, after that coffee,
Yeah.
you know, charge up that phone while it's charging, jump in there.
No,
I had my cold shower before I got on here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'll get on
5 minutes. 5 minutes. I'm one of those weirdos that bring a mobile into the phone, into the play, in the thing, so that I can put my timer on. And I literally doing 5 minutes every day.
Nice work. They're doing. I'd go onto the, like I'll take my puppy dog Charlie. Charlie is
Yeah.
gorgeous. Like go on the kayak out here.
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
love you lots. Thank you very much, Karima.
Love you lots, and have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody who's listening. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I know your phone's dying, so you can go.
Oh, no. It said 5%.
What?
It said 5%, but I don't know how much 5% is or how long that is,
Okay. So for the rest of you, I'm just going to finish up here, because I think there's some things that you said, Zarina, that were just amazing. I think that there were some things around how, when we bring empathy, are an empathetic leader, bring empathy into our leadership. Like, how can we do that in a bigger way? That was one of the things that I'm going to be taking from what we've had as a conversation today, going, how do I need to bring that more into what I do? I really love that story that you brought around to our focus in New Zealand around the bag, the company, and then the whole thing was, hey, like, I just need a space where it's safe, because, out of that came the fact that people were suffering a lot from domestic violence. And it's like, how do we do that as leaders? Like, how do I create spaces, and one of them is, for me, it's just been coming more and more relevant of opening up conversations and going more deeper into some of the challenges that I'm seeing across the globe. So things like racial tension, having conversations around some of the issues that are bringing that tension, but, with amazing leaders, and opening that conversation up even in a bigger and better way. I did it as an entryway in what I call the Global Human Intelligence Forum, which is an annual event. And it was so powerful. And I was like, okay, we're going to dive deeper and do more of these. But, and I haven't done that. And I feel like the more I have these conversations, the more that there really truly is a need for, and something that is in my hand, that I can, get together a group of people and just have some of these conversations where we deep dive into some of the areas even that you've brought up on this conversation today. And I just think it's things like that, although it becomes, and you said it's so hard. And I used to think of this and go, it is, because I get to work at extremes. I get to work at real big global level where you go, these are huge things, like one of the, things that I was looking through with a partner that I was working with, and that was looking at how do we stop as a police over in America, how do we stop and hesitate and whatever color is in front of me, that moment, right? That's kind of a huge moment. And you talked about the domestic violence. How do we stop the fact that it's on an increase, not a decrease? And I know that across the world, human trafficking is not being stopped at all. In fact, this is just actually, oh, girl, it's a thing after my own heart.
I tell you,
that's like giving voice to humanity. That is the ultimate of not having a voice, right? Yeah. And so this can become so big. And I think this is what I love about having different lenses and different thinkings, is that we are going, yes, this is really big, this is really hard. But then we hear how you're making this little difference in this way. And we go, it might be the Zarina that I get on here. It might be the Mary that I've had, Nikhil. It might be the Maria that I had on here. It might be the Michelle that I had on here. And it might be something that they are doing that goes, oh, hey, I've got that in my hand. I can do that too. And I think that's the powerful thing, that all of us have some way in which we can, you know, bring a difference. One of my ways that I did, and Zarina, I'd love if you you check it out and put your one thing in there. And this is, I haven't even brought this up on a conversation yet, but one of the things I was like, what if, you know, I'm meeting all these people and they're going, I'd love to make a difference and I don't even know how to do that. And so I created what I call the 1% movement. And the 1% movement, and I'm right at the beginning of bringing this out into an open forum, and I need to do this more. So I keep smacking my hand because over there I have it on my back wall and it reminds me, but on here I don't. And it's where, like, I want every single leader, every single human that comes on, hears this and goes, oh, what have I got in my hand? To go, what's the one thing I'm going to do to shift the dial from problem to solution? Because imagine, Zarina, if I do my 1%, you do your 1%, Mary does hers, Michelle does hers, Nikhil does hers, Maria does hers, everyone does their 1%. And any of the listeners, you know, they all do their 1%. We actually can shift that dial. We can make a difference. And that shows for me as a visual that, and my 1%, by the way, on the wall is to get 1,000 names on the wall of the humanity, which is the wall on the 1% movement. So I'd love your face to be on there with your one thing that you're going to do to shift that dial. Because here's the thing, if we can see 1,000 people who are shifting that dial, we know we're not alone. It's not too big. And then also I hope eventually that we can collaborate as a bigger tribe as well.
I've got an idea. Yeah.
What's your one thing?
Sorry?
What's your one thing? Oh, she died on that moment. Okay, we'll get back to it. So anyone that's listening, here's the thing with the 1% movement. And what's really cool about it is that if you've got your 1%, so I'm purposely said, I want to get 1,000 names on the wall of humanity. For me, that meant there were 1,000 people. So please, if you're listening to this and have loved what we talk about here and you're going, what's in my hand? What can I do? Can you be one of these people? It's on the 1%movement.com or the wall, the Leaders Movement Wall of Humanity. I don't know. Michelle will put the link in here. She's fantastic. She'll put the link in here. It is amazing concept. And I just think that for those that, you know, want to know what the 1% movement is, the 1% movement is this, that you get one thing that you want to do, put a time frame to it. So for me, when I get 1,000, I know I've reached my first one thing. And then, of course, I'm going to increase that number, and then that will be my next one thing. So put a number to it, so a time frame or a number, and do it in a way that it's doable and that is going to shift you closer from where you are to where you want to be. And then that will be making a difference, not just to you, but to those around you. There's some amazing people who have already put their one thing up on the wall of humanity. So check it out at the 1% movement and make sure that you are putting that in there. All right. This has been Saturday morning. I've had an amazing guest on here. I saw a different side, you know, and I keep saying this the last couple of days, but I've said this to a few of my friends. I said, you know, sometimes I meet someone and it's in an environment, and there's been a few of them, to be honest, in an environment, and all we've ever talked about is business. And so it feels like they were a walking sales person, right? And they're just like, I just want you, and I do this. And this is one of the reasons I don't say at the beginning of these conversations, I don't say, hey, who are you? What do you do? Because I think that as a leader, as a person, as a human, there is too much emphasis on what is that role and how does that look? And then we identify with that. And we don't get to what is truly what I believe is the genius that you bring. And that is the thinking, the way you then play that out, put some strategies in place, bring some solutions. I just think that's fascinating. And that is way in which we can learn and be more effective in what we're doing. How are you doing that? What does that look like for you? And I think that's, if we can start asking questions rather than, we talked in here about the tall poppy syndrome. This is really, it has irritated me here in Australia because, and, over in America, I remember it was called something like the ceiling. And in the Philippines, it's called like there's the frog analogy, that the frogs are trying to get the other frog and get it down in the bucket. I can't remember what that's called, but, why do we do that as humans? Why do we pull other people down? Why are we not encouraging? Did you see how the thing that Zarina was taking from today's conversation was not just all this amazing stuff that we were talking about, but it was the one thing that I did. And I just do it personally because I think it's so important. I didn't do it because I need to do that. I really want that to be part of what I do. And so it was the one thing that she really spoke about. And that was, you saw me. I think if we see people, if we see others and what they bring, we actually gain so much more. When we close off, when we don't listen, and we're not willing to see people as humans at the decision table, then we're actually the ones that lose out. Not only do they get to lose out to share their genius zone with the world, the genius zone for me is the distinctions they bring as well, then we get to miss out of receiving what they have to offer, or opportunity to open up to, well, maybe something that could make us think differently and add more value in what we do. And I think, if only, how simple was it that I just saw her and I didn't just keep it inside of me, I shared it with her. And feedback is really important. I think feedback has often been this thing, we need feedback. And we know it as a concept, but doing it is different. And sometimes feedback is not so positive, and sometimes feedback is very positive. And both is important. And we need to be able to be willing to create safe spaces where we can do that. All right. Well, here we are at the decision table and another amazing conversation. I really hope that you gain so much insight from all of the conversations that we're having. I know I am, and I'm putting it together in a white paper so that I can get the word out further, because, we talk about this a lot, but awareness is so important. And this is about creating awareness, and we want to be able to do that more. So if you've loved these conversations, please love this, comment on this as you watch this and the replay, and share it. Please, please. I really ask that you share it, because I have a small community. You have another community, someone else has a community, and it's this ripple of effect of getting this out to many, many more that maybe could have heard what Zarina had to say today, and they are like her, another Zarina that had to sort of figure out, what does this new Zarina look like? And if you know someone who really would have benefited from listening to what she had to say today and what she brought to the decision table, then make sure you share this and get the word out. All right. I am going to love and leave you. It is Saturday morning here, and the family is really quiet. So I'm going to get some things done before they all start evolving in the house and getting up. And I look forward to my conversation with an amazing friend tomorrow. Okay. And Sundays, by the way, at the decision table are at 9:30, because, hey, I need one day I get to sleep in, okay? And that's my day. All right. Big love. And may today just have been just a little bit of an injection of a new conversation that you can start having even more of these conversations with whom are in your world. All right. See you soon and see you tomorrow.